Let's bring in our good friend and campaign manager for Trump 2020 on the phone with us right now. This is Brad Parscale. Brad, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you. Tell us what the mood is like on the ground in Texas with 100,000 people wanting to get into this rally tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty insane there, Gina. I mean, over 100,000 RSVPs. Never seen anything like it. You know, I've been doing this for 3.5 years and over 500 rallies, and this is probably the most intense RSV count we've ever had.
Yeah, you know, Brad, did you expect this? I mean, I was to pretty much every one of the Trump rallies down here in Florida, 2015, 2016, when I was covering them on my radio show, and they were big, you know, 12,000, 15,000. But did even your team expect 100,000 RSVPs?
Well, I think the real deal is we really have never been to South Texas for a real rally. I mean, we've done fundraisers down here. So we were in Dallas, you know, one of the very first rallies, or
right.
The first Trump rally had, 20,000 people. We just haven't done a lot of rallies in this part of the country. I mean, the one thing is, statistically and data-wise, for winning elections, we don't need to be here that often. Texas is Trump country. It's a Republican backbone. And, there's a lot of pent-up energy. 3.5 years, there's people that say, they would have had to travel, 6-7 hours to do something.
Yeah.
And now they can do it in our backyard. So I'm not surprised. Texas likes to do things big. There's a lot of people down here, and I think it's going to be an epic rally.
And they definitely created Brad Parscale. I think you're originally from Texas, right? And you are no small human, I'll tell you that. It's a little shocking to stand in front of you or the president, both of you. Very imposing. And we expect this rally to be big. But you know what, Brad, the rallies that I've attended with you have been big. People are standing outside of them. It doesn't matter what state it is. They camp all night. They wait all night. But here's the thing, Brad. This is not even a Trump rally necessarily. I mean, we're not looking at Trump 2020 in this moment. This is a midterm election. It's supposed to be lackadaisical. I would think that after 500 rallies, when this isn't even about the president's reelect, that maybe attendance would be waning, and instead it seems to be going exactly the opposite direction of that. To what do you attribute these massive crowds?
Well, there's a lot of things that are different about this president. I mean, first of all, most of these other Democrats that have anything large, they have to have a free concert with famous musicians to get people there, and then they attend the concert. This president has always drawn huge numbers, and he's obviously very successful at doing so. But, this president is just different. I mean, there's so many things. Even when he does endorsements, we see 5, 10, 15, even sometimes the case almost 20-point, boost. Almost in political history, endorsements just really haven't mattered that much. They've been, lucky to get a point, blip on the radar. So this president draws attention. He's a superstar within this country. He's making things, change. And I think that he's held his promises and kept his promises more than any president in history. And I think that's showing in all of this. And I think people are ready for change. They were ready for real change, and I think that's why they're showing up.
Mm-hmm. Brad, what can we expect to hear from the president tonight? I'm expecting we're going to hear jobs, not mobs. We're going to hear praise for Senator Ted Cruz. What might we hear tonight that we haven't heard in the previous rallies and campaign stumps?
Well, I do think the president's also very concerned about, this caravan and making sure that we secure our southern border. I mean, we're down here in South Texas. This is a problem. We see official after official that works on the border control saying they need more infrastructure. We need a wall. You've seen what's happened in other countries that put walls up and help block that. I mean, you just saw what happened on the Mexico southern border. They just jumped in the water, went right around, jumped over a fence, and there was nothing stopping them. And obviously, this is someone's funding this, and I don't know exactly where and who, but it's pretty convenient. They're going to try to show up right before Election Day, and this is all just a big game for the left, who wants completely open borders and the end of any kind of sovereignty nation. And we are for legal immigration, and we want to see our continue to see merit-based immigration, but we have to stop this just onslaught of our southern border.
We're speaking with Brad Parscale. He is, of course, the Trump campaign 2020 campaign manager. He is on the ground in Texas, where the rally will be held tonight. There's a tailgate party right now. Brad, I guess one of the big questions is, will this enthusiasm for this president, who at one time was at odds with Senator Cruz, will this translate to votes for the midterms for Senator Cruz?
Well, first of all, I think, that was a long time ago, 3 years ago, when it was a pretty heated, primary in the Republican Party. I think President and Cruz are obviously on the same track and have the same agenda for the most part. And I think that that's going to show this evening. But yeah, I think when you have 100,000 people that want to show up to a rally, this gets them enthused. You know, an extra 10,000, 20,000 votes and could make a significant difference. I think you're going to see a big Trump bump here. I think that people want to see that Cruz is with the president. And, you know, there's been questions of that in the press. And I think this will solidify and end that. And I think that's important. And look, I think whenever the president visits places, you see enthusiasm increase, you see polling increase. You know, this president brings something no other person can to politics, and that's showing up at the voting booth.
Brad, Politico is reporting that the GOP does not need to be worried about losing the Senate. How worried does the rank and file person out there who's thinking about going to the polls and voting, how worried do they need to be concerned, though, about losing the House?
Well, I'm an old school basketball guy and college athlete. So I say, first of all, you go into every game like you can get your butt beat. So I think you have to show up, and I think we have to get every vote out there. And I think we should vote like we have everything to lose. And we do. I mean, we have the agenda that's got started, and it's going to take more time. You know, the president has accomplished more in 2 years than any president in history in the same time period, but there's still so much more to accomplish. And Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, all they want to do is obstruct, try to throw impeachment up there and use that as a weapon against the president and try to draw votes. And I think it's something that Americans across, Republicans, Independents, Democrats should see, that things are getting better. The economy is great, and their livelihoods are getting better. And we're safer than ever. And I think that they need to show up and vote Republican. And there's tons of good candidates. I hope that we gain our lead in the Senate and hopefully hold the House. And I think we have a good chance if enthusiasm continues to climb at the rate it has been the last few weeks. And I think you saw today with the Trump's, approval rating, President Trump's approval rating at 47. That's the Wall Street Journal, and that's the highest it's been in that poll, I believe. And I think that
but wait, Brad, I want to ask you something. Do you even believe those numbers when there's 100,000 people showing up for a rally? 47% approval rating sounds low to me.
Well, I think first of all, we don't have our own polling operation run. I take all those with a grain of salt, but you can take those in comparison to themselves, which show momentum, which is more important to me than the overall. It doesn't right now matter if 60 or 40, love him because it's not his election yet. What shows is the enthusiasm moving towards his agenda. Those numbers, even if they are down, are actually impressive and above Obama's, who would have been with the media on the positive side of him, and at the same time, probably more statistically accurate for him. So he's beating them with everything against him, and probably statistically wrong sampling size underneath that, which means that he's going the right direction and probably more than ever. And I think that's what you need to really look at. I don't obsess about whether or not, it's 56, 47, but direction does matter at these polls.
Right.
Exactly.
Or Brad Parscale, campaign manager for President Trump's 2020 re-election campaign. Brad, thanks for making the time. Great to talk to you.
Thank you so much,
problem.
Brad.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more breaking news coverage, exclusive interviews, and great videos, click over here to our YouTube channel and subscribe. And don't forget to download the free Newsmax TV app. Newsmax TV, it's real news for real people.